When you think of adventurers, you probably think vagabonds traveling from place to place, solving problems, slaying monsters, or at the very least, doing whatever they can for gold. I never cared for any of that. I didn't care much for respect or adoration. The fear was more than enough, and the bloodshed. The best part about being an adventurer was there was always something and someone to slide my knife into. The slick blood, like red gold, streaming down my hands and pooling into crimson mirrors over cobblestone and hardwood. It made the hardships all the more worth it. I often got scoldings from the others. Bane especially disliked my nightly entertainments because it foiled his plans. So carefully he would beat, bully, blackmail, and charm his way into the hearts of others. So much work. The quickest way into anyone's heart, man, beast, or monster, is with cold, sharp steel, usually between the ribs. Oh, Merkel, you always thought you knew what was going on in the back of the minds of others, but I've poked and prodded around hundreds of brains, and I can say there's nothing in there but jelly. Once the old fool tried to get me to entertain myself by hunting one of his undead minions. He could see I was getting that twitch. I won't deny his talent as a necromancer. His zombies would have fooled most, but not me. Not just because I knew it was him who summoned it, not just because I watched him create it, but the undead don't feel that dread, that sense of foreboding, like a mouse cowering before the cat. There was no warm blood either, no fight to defend itself, and sliding the knife in, undead flesh has a strange resilience to it I can't quite explain. And there were no screams of mercy. Oh, the screaming! That's often the best part, and the eyes. A zombie's eyes are hollow, dull. These are not the eyes I look for. When I kill a living soul, its eyes knowingly search desperately through its memories, so full of life trying to find the answer to the problem of me in front of it. I often wondered how full the eyes of the Tyrant and the Lord of Bones would look like when a blade bites deep into their hearts. But we need each other for now. We're so close to finding him. I can keep my appetites in check when I have to. I know the time will come. We followed clues and simple maps, uncovered esoteric secrets, and ventured into long-forgotten places of the world, setting foot in catacombs, tombs, and libraries none had tread since the time of Netheril, or perhaps older. We found treasures worth a king's ransom a dozen times over, and with plenty of fools on our way to kill. What more could a budding, homicidal adventurer ask for? Just the one thing that we were actually searching for, the three of us. Our shared ideal, ascension, to become a god. When we learned that a god's domain could be taken, there was a spark of understanding between the three of us. Bane realized he did not have to build kingdoms, he could own the greatest of kingdoms, the kingdoms of heaven. Merkel realized that he could be forever remembered as an eternal divine being. And I could stalk anything I wanted to, murder anyone I wanted to. We would destroy one of the gods and take their domain for ourselves. But which one? Not a question we dwelt on for very long. The domain of death has always been the strongest. Everyone worships death in their own way or another, and it is never a domain up for debate. Not like life or crops, rainfall, or the harvest. It took some doing, most of it very boring, but we managed to find it. A path to the grey wastes. There, deep within the bowels of Hades, and within the infamous Castle of Bones, we found him. Jurgle, the end of everything, the true god of death and ending. I won't lie, I was hoping for a bit of a fight. I wanted to see what a god's blood tasted like. Was it warmer than a person's? Was it thicker? Was it thinner? Did it have a golden hue to it like the blood of an angel? Or was it black and thick and viscous like the ichor of a demon? But Jurgle was more open to our desires than expected. He was going to just give us his power. I remember what he said that day. "The throne is yours. I have grown weary of this empty power. Take it if you wish. I promise to serve and guide you as your seneschal until you grow comfortable with the position. But I must ask, who among you shall rule?" Ah, there it is. The elephant in the room. 1 god to supplant, 3 mortals for ascension. There was tension in the air. The 3 of us always knew in the back of our minds, this adventure would only end with one of us victorious, and the rest of us dead. But I hesitated. My specialty was in murder, a knife to the back, in the slaying of those helpless and fearful, and these 2 were anything but. Bane was a brute of a man. Attacking others head-on was never my forte, and I worried he would crush me before I slid my knife in. Merkel was old and frail, but he had grown to be a master of necromancy and death magic. My skill with blade and poison wasn't anything to scoff at. They knew not to get too close to me. All of us wondered as we eyed one another if we could kill them and make it out alive to collect the prize. Then Jurgo mentioned a game of knucklebones, dividing his power amongst the 3 of us. His portfolio encompassed all aspects of death and the dead, plenty to go around. But who got first pick? That was decided on who the winner of the Knucklebones game was. It was Bane, unfortunately. He was the most cunning bastard of us all. When he celebrated his victory in the usual smug bravado of his, I really wanted to scoop his brains out and see what part of it made him so smart. He chose the domains of hatred, strife, and control. No surprise there, he always was a tyrant at heart. Merkel came in second, choosing to rule over the dead. I could see, based on that wry smile and how Bane bristled, that it was a little jab at our resident tyrant. Even his people would have to die sometime. I came in last, and my old allies smirked with pride, each of them sure that they took the superior portfolios for themselves. But what the fools failed to realize is that I took the only one that truly mattered. I choose death. I can destroy your kingdom, Bane, by murdering your subjects. And I can starve your kingdom, Merkel, by staying my hand. And so I shall build my own kingdom, of those who decide who lives and dies, and the both of you shall bow before me. The feeling of godly ascension was spectacular. Every bit as invigorating and burningly visceral as gutting a tiefling. I wasted no time in exercising my new power. I even managed to manifest this avatar on Toril itself for a time, but after it was slain, I was gravely weakened and banished from Toril. But death always returns. I still had some power, and was definitely still a god. However, I hadn't returned for long when the time of troubles came crashing on all of us. All the deities, most of them anyway, were forced to be mortal once again. I was slain during that time by the upstart Cyric and his God's Bane sword. I was dead, or so many would like to believe. I am no fool. I was mortal before I was a god, unlike the rest of them. And I knew what the true cost of death was. The loss of not just life, but my godly authority over death. So before anyone murdered me, I made sure to sire many, many children. My Bhaalspawn, who would live, and through them my essence would live. My blood would urge them to stalk and kill and slay everything around them. Chips off the old block. As they slew each other, one by one, my essence was slowly freed. In the end, it came down to my final children, Abadel Adrian and V. Kong, fighting one another at the Wide in Baldur's Gate. I don't know much about poetry, but I feel it's fitting that the place where I had my first kill back when I was a mortal comes full circle with my rebirth. The victor turned into an abomination, rampaging a bloody path through the city streets until it too was eventually put down. With this last act of bloodletting, I was empowered and completely free. I reclaimed my divine control over the domain of death from Cyric the Usurper, or at the very least, the domain of murder, which is fine by me. I didn't care much for honorable killing anyway. It seems, though, that I am no longer a true god. As with the time of troubles, I have my power, but I lack my old untouchable immortality. I'm sure Bane and Merkel are both laughing it up at me. Let them laugh. A bit of danger adds spice to the hunts, and my faithful still hunger to slay and spill the sweet innards of Faerun. They're sloppier and a bit more zealous than my old followers, but I admire their devotion. So beware, Faerun. The true Slayer walks among you. Bhaal walks among you now. I wonder if sliding my knife into your ribs will be just as sickly sweet as it was the first time.
Thank you for watching. On this channel, I put together narrative D&D lore videos. A special thank you to my patrons who help keep the channel going and bringing more content to you. You can become a patron too and see all of my videos early and totally ad-free, as well as vote on next video topics. Also be sure to like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, and check out these other videos. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!